My name is Dora Scheidlinger, and I am honored to be moderating this panel of phenomenal women. Today is International Women's Day, and on this special day last year, Celebrity Cruises made history as the first all-female bridge and onboard leadership team set sail on Celebrity Edge. Led by Captain Kate McCue, the first American female cruise ship captain, and accompanied by 26 other women representing 16 different countries, this was a barrier-breaking moment for the industry and women everywhere. And then just days later, the pandemic suspended sailing indefinitely, drowning out this beautiful and significant moment. Let's take a look back together.
It's the first time ever that the bridge of a cruise ship has been manned by an all-female bridge team. And that in and of itself for our industry is quite extraordinary. For our brand, it is barrier breaking, it's history making, and it's a day of pride.
When I had the bridge team, the full complement for the first time where it was all women, honestly, it took my breath away. And this opportunity with International Women's Day, where it's going to be across the board and across the world, we all have a responsibility because of the platform that we've been given to really make this something special.
To be part of this International Women's Day that we are doing here on Celebrity, we are celebrating, is really important, I think. It makes me feel very proud.
International Women's Day, all women officers, a full woman bridge, Captain Kate, of all people. Everybody's proud of her, the crew are proud of her, and it's so wonderful that the guests are talking about it, and they'll be talking about it forever, and the industry too. We're making a mark on the industry.
It is an honor for me to be part of this historical moment, to sail on a first all-female bridge team. We are changing the role of a woman in the shipping industry, and we are creating a more diverse future for all these people who are coming on board.
I think it's a celebration of diversity. It's well overdue. This is a time that we have diversity within our industry, and I'm just so glad to be a part of that.
On this International Women's Day, I have the privilege to be here, and I have the privilege to look at whoever looks up and say, I want to be this and I want to be that. You know what? You can do it. You can outwork any challenge, and you can go ahead and do that.
When you have a historic moment like this, where you can say, look at all of these people that can do it, and not just from one country, from so many different countries, different nationalities, that really allows us to access the whole world, all of these girls, and say, you can do it too.
I'm very happy to be on board on this special cruise, special day, and I see so many women officers in different departments, and all of them my colleagues.
It makes me feel very special to be among these amazing women and be part of something that only we can do. I think that's crazy unique.
We work for many years to get to the positions that we have nowadays, and it's great to be able to feel that sense of accomplishment. Here we are, we're working as a team in positions that we could only dream of when we were growing up.
As women of all ages, of all descriptions, of all religions, we're here. And I think this company doing this and making this day as special as it is, and something I will never, ever, ever forget.
To be able to walk on this ship today with every woman that is leading the ship, whether on the bridge or any other area of our operation, it is a dream come true, and it's really a proud day for me personally.
This is epic. To be celebrating International Women's Day on the Celebrity Edge with this full complement of female, can I say badass officers? It's phenomenal, it's mind-blowing.
What are you guys feeling, thinking, watching that?
Makes me want to cry over anything else. Really.
In a sign of the times, the women are virtually back together on this International Women's Day, joining us from their homes on land and a few from stationed celebrity ships in locations across the globe to discuss this historic moment, the challenging year that followed, and why it's now more important than ever to choose to challenge. How did it feel to be a part of 2020's historic sailing, both at the time and then looking back on it now?
Honestly, it was a surreal experience. And I think when we were all discussing when we were coming up through the ranks, or when we were starting our careers, or even going to sea, the idea of being able to woe-man a ship where the leadership was entirely female, I don't think that was ever even something that we contemplated, because we were so far from that advancement.
Looking back a year later since it happened, I was very fortunate to be part of this team when I was on a cruise here. And one thing that I have learned over the years is that if you do not align your job with purpose, or rather, if your job does not become your purpose, then once things change, you kind of fall a bit, you feel like you are not aligned. But then when I walked into celebrity, I felt like each and every person just doesn't think this is their job. They believe this is their purpose. And that's exactly what they did on that day. And looking 1 year after, even when things went down and things turned out as they did, we did not feel discouraged. And even when people felt like they were mentally struggling, what people did, those at home, us here, we shifted the goalpost. We decided, what are we going to do now so that we continue keeping the purpose alive, whereby the purpose is hope. Actually, the purpose here is hope, that even if we were trying to bridge the gap, or we did bridge the gap during the March 8th sailing, and things went the way they went, we will eventually get there. And hope is what we translated. So 1 year later, I look back and I just see growth and hope that we'll just get there eventually. We have shown the light, and we will get there. That's what I would say.
We still got the hope.
Hope floats. Hope floats.
Hope floats. Yes.
I totally understand how you feel, and although I'm not working on the bridge, being part of the all-female officer team was an incredible experience. And leading up to it, I was kind of the onboard liaison for the whole organization behind the events that were happening. And I think the only thing that I didn't take into account was when it was actually happening, it was a very emotional experience. The time that we were all on stage together, the moment you realized, look at us, we're all female, and here we are leading this beautiful ship. What an incredible opportunity, and something that I never dreamed would happen, but I'm very, very grateful to have been a part of.
That's a great segue. This next question is for Lisa. So Lisa, can you tell us, why was this important for you to lead the business to this milestone, and what were the steps that had to be taken in order to get here?
Oh my goodness, we don't have enough time for me to tell you all the reasons why it was so important, but I'll try to be concise, Dora. And you know, when I was appointed to this position very late in 2014, it was December, just before the holidays. And as I entered into 2015, as Captain Kate had just said, I thought about the opportunity that I had as the first woman in our C-suite, and the first woman CEO in our industry, and the first woman to run any one of our brands within our company. And I thought that, you know, I was reflecting back on my career over that past 10 years, where I was part of the operations team in our company. Before that, I was part of sales and marketing. And what I realized when I came into operations was I had a real culture shock, because the gender was so imbalanced, and there were so few women doing anything, let alone on the bridge. And I remember feeling lonely, and I remember feeling that the environment was really hard for me to thrive in. And so I had to find my way. And I remember thinking, I don't want this to be the same way for other women. I want women to come up the ranks. I want women to get the opportunities that they deserve. You know, Captain Kate just said only 2% of the mariners in the world are women. very few operators are women either. And so I found this wonderful opportunity that I was now, I had the ability to really influence, to pay it forward. You know, people often ask me, you know, how does it feel to be the first woman president, CEO, blah, blah, blah. And that's all nice. But when I reflect on it, I think that the best part of my role for me is my ability to pay it forward and bring other women along with me. So when I was on that ship with so many women, many of which are here with me today, again, that I get to work beside every single day, it was a moment that was so important to me, to all of them, to our industry, and to the world, and to show people that this can be done if you have intent and purpose and a great team of people to help you accomplish it.
There was one thing that really stood out for me the first day of this particular cruise on the evening. Captain Kate, you and I are very good at crying. We are very good at it and getting very soppy. But I have to say, on the very first day, when all the senior officers, some of them here and some not, but they came down the main stairs, the 2 staircases in the Edge Theatre, and I had the pleasure of presenting them. They came down to a standing ovation, and that was men and women. They all stood up. And that was hard enough it was choky enough at that point. But then we brought Captain Kate down from the staircase. Remember, you didn't want to go up there, but I made you go up. And you came down the stairs in your heels and your Louboutins, and you walked out, and everybody went nuts again. But the real telling point was when you opened it up and let all the women that work in all the departments on board the ship come to the stage. And even I, knowing most of them, I'm going cold now thinking of it. They kept coming and coming and coming. There was little ones, tall ones, big ones, you name it. All these females came onto the stage, and we stepped aside, all the senior ones stepped aside, and they walked forward. And the thing, I looked at you, Captain Kate, and you looked at me. And when we asked for all the mothers to stand forward, we just went in a heap, because people forget we've got families and kids at home.
Thank you, Sue. This is, I would like to ask Julie now, since you kind of have an insight into the guests and the atmosphere and what they're really experiencing. Can you kind of describe the atmosphere for the guests and how they reacted to this historic moment?
Being at the guest relations, I think the guests were just in awe of it. And like Sue mentioned, a lot of people hadn't cruised on Edge before. So when they were cruising that particular cruise, and it was a women's cruise, as I say, International Women's Week, they were just bowled over. And the constant compliments were just never ending. It was very overwhelming.
I can only imagine it, honestly, although the video does help bring it to life. This next question is for NIINA about, whether or not there were any behind the scenes stories, anything kind of fun anecdotes from this particular sailing, and anything that you remember that sticks out in your mind.
It seems in my case and our women's case, we always go back to our hair and makeup and uniforms in particularly. And also this case, wearing different uniforms that we changed every now and then, we've noticed that when we wear our evening uniforms, which is half wool and half something else, it's fairly warm. And we are now able to wear pants, thank you, Lisa, or skirt. But the shirt was long sleeve, so Lisa had kindly organized a different kind of short sleeve shirt for us to wear under for the special occasion. So we got these shirts just before the beginning of the cruise. And you should have seen us ladies trying to sort out the right sizes, trying them on, swapping them. No, this is not mine, this is yours. I can't wear this, you can't wear that. So we came up good, I think, but there was a lot of chaos before that did happen.
Looking back, on this event a year later, what does this mean to you?
So when I was thinking about what it means to me a year later, I was actually rephrasing it to what it means to me 50 years from now, because we are here in our position right now after years of hard work. So we were all at beginners at the point. We were all starting in, let's say, a low ranked position, and we worked ourselves up to the position that we have right now. And it takes time, it doesn't take a year. So when you do something that is in some around the world, or for some cultures is extreme, is out of the norm, is might be stigmatic, or something that is hard to accept, then you do encourage people that over time, and you do encourage young females in our case, that over time with proper intention, they really can achieve goals that might seem at a time weird or not normal to them, but when they grow up, they can build themselves to do something that is much more beyond their present norm, if it makes sense.
Any fun anecdotes that you can share from kind of behind the scenes? A little birdie told me that there may have been a electric guitar performance, perhaps. I don't know if that rings a bell to you, but any fun stories you can share?
The vivid memory for me that I will never forget is when, I was being taken from place to place to place. I have a very full itinerary and agenda. And all of a sudden it was time for me to be in the Grand Plaza at a certain moment, because we had things going on and I needed to speak. I don't know, in like 5 minutes I needed to speak. And I walked into this Grand Plaza, and I remember standing and looking up, and there had to be 1,500 guests surrounding every level of the Grand Plaza, and the celebration that was going on in there was unbelievable. And all of a sudden I looked at the bar, the martini bar in the Grand Plaza, and there's MILANA standing there playing electric guitar like freaking Van Halen. I was like, what? And the talent of this team is boundless. And Kate, I think you were mixing martinis and pouring them. And I just remember thinking, not only is this amazing team getting into it, and oh my goodness, they have so much talent I didn't even know about outside of how great they are at their jobs. But those guests couldn't have, it was electric. It was electric guitar, but it was also electric, the way the guests were responding and hooting and cheering. And it was just this beautiful party and celebration that everybody was a part of. And that was a really powerful moment for me. And I don't know, MILANA, I think you might enjoy playing that guitar even more than you enjoy what you do for like your day job. That was just unbelievable. So bravo, my friend, bravo.
Thank you. I have to say, before the moment was there, I was very nervous, but when it started, no more nerves. I just had a great time, and thank you for appreciating.
I did very much.
It's hard to talk about this historic moment, and I hate to be a downer, but without then quickly transitioning to the year that followed. It's such an unprecedentedly challenging year for your industry.
When I look back on the past year, honestly, I will file this as one of the greatest years in my career. And the reason why is we found out life doesn't stop. And we had the opportunity to really explore the things that we do in a different way. For example, when we were told, we were shutting down for the first 2 weeks, we thought this is an amazing opportunity, for example, to put our crew members into our guest balcony staterooms, give them the experience that our guests get to experience, so that they can genuinely and authentically talk to our guests about the incredible product that we bring. We celebrated everything from the celebration of life to birth to anniversaries, engagements, and we even had a wedding on board. So life didn't stop for us. We just found new and creative ways to adapt to it. And I think that was so satisfying, not just for myself, but for the crew to be able to get to do that.
What about you, Rachel? I'd like to get your perspective on what the past year has been like for you.
I mean, I was eternally grateful to have been a part of the sailing and to be on Celebrity Edge when I was. The pandemic affected me quite personally. I actually lost my dad during the pandemic, but because of the team that was around me when it happened on board Celebrity Edge, I couldn't imagine having gone through that without them. And the way that they supported me was, there really aren't words. And even how the office supported in kind of being able to get me home back to my family so quickly with all of the travel restrictions that were in place. Yeah, I mean, it was a really hard year. Love to you all. And I'm just so grateful for Captain Kate, stop. Yeah, and you know, moving forward, I was able to go back on Celebrity Apex. I've been promoted this year as well, so you know, there are ups and downs, and you know, I think like everyone else has already touched on, there's just so much hope for the future, and I really feel that, and I've got lots of lovely things to look forward to as well. And moving forward, I think all of us have learned and grown from this experience, and you know, despite everything that's happened, everything happens for a reason. I believe that so strongly, and I'm really looking forward to the future and how we're going to get back to cruising and all of the great things that are going to happen.
Julie, I'd love to go to you. I think we all could use a laugh, maybe. Do you mind sharing what the past year has been like for you?
I've been with the company 30 years now, and I can honestly say between March and August has been the most memorable time of my life. And nobody could have ever predicted that. So, you know, we had how we made the things we made up on the ship, how we did the things we did. I mean, the crew were phenomenal with coming up with stuff. And one day we will share the videos, the pictures, everything we did during that time, you know, under the influence of everybody here on board, because it's a really memorable time. But did you want to know what I've been doing since then in the last year?
Yes, please.
It was really tough for me, actually. I can honestly say, I'm going to start it with a little bit of a personal thing. I felt like I was in mourning. 30 years, you become almost not. I felt like somebody had pulled the carpet from underneath me. I felt like I lost my job, my career, my friends, my life, my money, everything. And it was so overwhelming, but I had the love still there, the passion, the compassion, the empathy from the company, which have been absolutely phenomenal from start to finish. So proud of Celebrity, how they've looked after us all. But I knew at one point I would have to leave, we all do. But to have suddenly be at home, and I'm sitting here now on my own, everybody knows that's not Julie, right? So I couldn't cope. I really couldn't cope. And I didn't know what to do. So everybody thought, oh, Julie's okay. She's fine. She'll be fine. She's a bundle of fun. But I wasn't. So I had two options. Number one, I went on a downward slope. Or number two, I reached out. So I volunteered for Age UK and Time to Talk, which are for the elderly and lonely in England. And I call people every day. They give me a list of people I call, and I've built relationships up with them. And it's amazing because I travel about 35 miles to pick up food, and then I deliver it to the elderly, and I'm the only person they see. And when I call them, and I've called the same people now 2 or 3 times a week, I'm the only people they speak to. And I know all about their families. I know all about their children. Some of them have got nobody, absolutely nobody. But the Age UK and Time to Talk said, you're so good to do this. And I said, no, you don't get it. They're doing me the favor. They're listening to me, right? I talk about ships with them, cruising, and they love it, traveling all around the world. So that was my first way out, really. And it really, really has helped. And then I decided that I needed to do something in the house. So I bought myself my first little laptop I've bought in years. And I've trained to be I've just qualified now to be a celebrant, which is I can do funerals and weddings and christenings, and I can do any of those. So I am going to actually come back on the ship, Lisa, if you want to take notes, as a celebrant. So it's phenomenal. I didn't realize I had the most amazing talent of writing eulogies. So please put it in your wills that Julie will be the one, because I have stories on every one of you. I will make it fun.
NIINA, do you feel like being a woman made it more difficult to get to where you are today in your career?
It certainly has. I think it has mostly delayed the process rather than, well, it had its challenges in the beginning. When I left my previous job, I was a front desk manager in a hotel inland, in a city where we build ships in Turku, Finland. And I got to know the Royal Caribbean people and the crew and the builders. So that's how I learned about the company. And I left with a leave of absence from my work. I went there for 1 year just to see one contract. That was 6 months back in the day, to see how it goes. And I got promoted within my first contract. And I thought, then I knew immediately this is what I wanted to do. So I called my hotel manager in land. I said, I think I did definitely, this is what I want to do, and I will stay. And I resigned officially. And I wanted to see where this promotion was taking me. And within the, give or take about 2 years after I'd started, I got the hang of things, although it was very different to a job that I had done in land. And I noticed, started to get into these glass ceilings that I can push myself through. And for us women, I think it's always been that we have to work really hard, a little bit harder than our male colleagues. Although I must say, I've always been very supported by our shipboard gentlemen. I've never felt anything but assistance and support. But the times were different. When I started, we didn't have a single female waiter in the dining room. It was very difficult. So again, we're going back to the uniforms. Once I got the promotion, a guest relations manager, we didn't have any female uniforms. The formal uniforms, my first formal uniform jacket was made from me, tailored from men's size 14 jacket. I was size 6 back in the day, or 8, give or take. So yeah, but once the promotion had kind of started, it was easy from that point on, because I already had a lot of experience behind me. And you get the hang of it. As I said, things were done very differently on board, and still are. There's so much more involved. But I think we, as women, we are good at multitasking. And personally, I think I have a very sharp tongue and very sharp elbows. And with Finnish perseverance, we can conquer everything.
I have a new motto. In order to get beyond, you have to go beyond. And what I mean by that is, when I was first promoted to the captain position, it had always been a goal for me to become the first female American captain. I didn't think anybody else would care about that, but the external spotlight that was put on me was really overwhelming, to the point where I actually had to ask our PR department if I could take a step away, because I was trying to learn a new job in a new company with new people on a new ship, which is enough in its own, but with this external spotlight of, you know, the questions, how did you get there, and what challenges did you have? It was a bit overwhelming. But what I found is, when I stepped away, I was still getting the same questions coming from the guests. And what I realized is, if I didn't use my platform to normalize a woman in this position, or women coming up into this position, I wasn't doing anyone any favors. So it is my responsibility to make sure that we put it out there. And that's why I use social media the way that I do, because I firmly believe if you can see it, you can be it.
When I joined the company as a young deputy chief security, I was the only woman who was allowed to wear pants because of my job. And we made it normal, because it was just becoming a norm that it doesn't have to be a men position, let's say, that you can wear pants. And I was fighting not to go on night uniform, because I said, and what if something happens and I need to run? I cannot run with a skirt. And I remember vividly having fight. I'm not going to wear a night uniform if you're not going to let me put pants. And it happened, and I wore pants eventually.
So I'd like to ask Sue and Milana what is your favorite part of your job?
First of all, I think my favorite part has got to be the crew. I love being around them. And like Julie said, we've had lots of communication. They write to Julie, I know they do, maybe the others too. My nickname is Mama Sue. So they write to me under these guises, asking for references for things while they're off the ship, etc. And that's been, even when you're on board the ship, the crew, and I know Captain Kate really, really does advocate this, as indeed we all do. I love the entertainment side because I grew up in it from a very small child. I love the shows. I love the fact that we're moving forward and making things different and making things unusual. And of course, keeping in mind that we're going to have cruising in the future, obviously, soon, I hope. But, you know, there's other generations coming and we need them, and we need to make sure that everything is, you know, moves with the times, so to speak. The guests, of course, we've made friends with so many. I have so many on my Instagram asking, when are we going back, Sue? What's happening, Sue? What are we going to do? We need to cruise. We want to cruise. We love to cruise. That's it. But I think what people really need to know in summary is just what is Celebrity Cruises, because over this year, which has not been easy, I'm a bit like Julie. I've had my down times because I felt like my life has been my career, and my life doing what I love to do was stripped away. And of course, I'm very lucky. You know, I've got a lot of benefits here, but also I wanted people to know, and it really is important, that what this company does for us as a crew, and I mean this seriously, they need to know that they've kept in touch with us. They need to know they've taken care of us. They need to know they haven't just dumped us. And I'm sure Rachel can, bend to that one, obviously, with her problem with her father. You know, everything that we do is, everything Celebrity Cruises does is actually really special. I love the respect. I love the fact that we don't have we're very diverse, that we are the company we are. And I know full well that I said it on the International Women's Day cruise, and I'm going to say it again today, the best thing I ever did, and I've done lots of things in my lifetime and lots of different careers, but the best thing I ever did was join this company. And I mean that seriously. So that would be the favorite part of my job, is a whole load of that stuff all mushed in together, along with all the fun and the love that we have for each other.
Well, for me, the favorite part of my job, I obviously love working with people. And when we have guests that have a fantastic cruise vacation with us, it really makes me happy to see them leave happy, and to know that we all contributed to making their vacation memorable. And I love working with the crew. The fact that we have people from all over the world working together, it's so special. You don't have that anywhere, as far as I'm aware of. And it really is unique, and I love that. I like that we have new challenges all the time. You never have the chance to get bored, because there's always something happening and something new that you need to take care of. And one thing that I really want to point out, especially during the past year, the fact that we can travel is amazing. Now that we cannot, you realize how lucky we are that we get to visit all of these places. And that's something that nobody can take away from us.
That's great. I love that. Thank you so much. I want to ask, and we're going to kind of skip over a couple of questions just for the sake of time. I just want to make sure that I get this one in for Rachel. Rachel, do you have any tips for other women who want to start a career working at sea?
So I do, and the reason I do is actually how I ended up kind of following this career myself. And I did a lot of research into working at sea and the different jobs at sea, and I was actually the one that kind of held myself back. I kind of said, that sounds like the coolest job in the world, but for someone else, not for me. And it was only when I actually went to one of the maritime academies that had an open day. And I spent more than an hour speaking to this incredible girl who was wearing makeup. She had her nails done, her hair was incredible. And she was talking about chipping and painting and firefighting and going inside tanks and all of this incredible work that she did. And she was like me. And that was the thing that made me realize that I could do it. And I mean, that was 10 years ago. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but the one thing that has changed, and Mia touched on it before, is social media. And I would really encourage girls to read about it, research, learn, but also, I mean, I'm going to plug us now, follow us, ask us questions, reach out to us. I love more than anything speaking to young girls, young boys, anyone who is interested in this career, to kind of give them a real perspective of what they're getting themselves into. And I mean, careers at sea are wonderful, but they do have their downsides. You know, you are far away from home, you can have really high stress levels, it can be tiring, you know, it's not all, you know, rainbows and sunshine, but the positives do far outweigh the negatives. And if you're fully prepared for what you are about to get yourself into, it's going to make it much easier down the line. So just ask lots of questions, kind of research, and reach out to any of us and anybody that you know in the career, because they'd love to kind of encourage you to follow it too.
Great advice, Rachel. You know, seeing is believing, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I just want to ask this final question, and this would be one for Lisa. Now that celebrity has reached this historic moment, what is next for the brand? How are you going to be able to continue to drive gender equality as a leader for Celebrity Cruises?
Well, you know, we're not done yet, and that whole hashtag choose to challenge, I'm still challenging myself to do better. And you know, Captain Kate was talking about going from 3% to 22%. Well, we're now up to 28%. And that is a big deal. And that's 28% on the bridge. We open our brand new ships with almost 50% of our front of the house crew as women. So we are, you know, we're continuing the journey. We are, you know, we aren't finished. I have a goal of a third, and we're not quite there yet as a third. My goals will continue to go higher, but I want to just maybe take an opportunity to answer the last question you asked, Dora, and that is that we need more women to opt in. We need more women to raise their hand. We need more women to want these careers at sea. You know, you look at women like Rachel and Liz and Captain Kate on the marine side, and Mia, I don't know how active you are on social media, but you know, you think about social media, it's a great recruitment tool. I think actually that's how Captain Kate recruited Liz, if I'm not mistaken, and some others, through a connection on social media. And you know, celebrity is a really welcoming place. It's a nurturing place. I always say that, you know, talking about wanting more women is very different than actually hiring them and creating an environment where they can succeed, and where they have a support mechanism where they feel comfortable, and where they have an environment where they get their promotions. And so many women, you know, on this call have not started where any of us have ended up, but we all had opportunity along the way. And I talk to a lot of different women who reach out to us who have gotten the job, but that's all they've gotten. They're kind of stagnant, and they haven't found a way to advance, nor have they found a nurturing and welcoming environment. And so eventually they opt out. So the first thing more women need to do is opt in, and then leaders need to make, to create an environment, and not just me as a leader, because I am one of many leaders, that it is really important, make people feel welcome, and create an environment of opportunity, and go out and actively recruit women, since we're talking about International Women's Day. And so I think that I think that we're not done yet. And then the only other thing that I would say is, it's wonderful recounting that beautiful experience that we had last year. I think I would be remiss if I didn't say that I wish that this year we were able to celebrate in a different way. And I know again that we're going to choose to challenge ourselves for International Women's Day and Women's History Month of 2022 to get back and do something really, really big. So that's my personal challenge to myself. And I'm going to work hard with all of this amazing team to figure something out for 2022, because we'll be back, and we'll be back stronger than ever.
I just want to take, are there any final thoughts that anyone wants to share? Anything that we didn't ask you that you think is really important?
I look back with the hashtag Choose to Challenge. I look back at how far I've come to get where I am. And I want to just speak to the young girls out there, especially, this is usually very emotional for me, especially for the young girls of color. Because I have faced rejection for so many years, and then boom, the family just welcomed me with open arms. And what I'll tell them is, just keep fighting. We have to change this for the people who will come after me and after us. And the reason I wake up every morning is so that next time when they look at that resume, they'll not look at a person of color, they'll know that we can do the job. And I'm so grateful for Celebrity.
Oh, bless you. Oh.
I'm grateful because it's here that I do not look at myself as different.
Could I just say,
here she's a badass.
Could I just say that a big thank you, a huge thank you for being able to do this. This is just, means so much, especially when you've not been able to be around any of you guys at all. But you can't do anything about the past, can you? You can only go forward. There's nothing, it's what's done is done, And I actually think, and that's a fantastic thing for you to say, Liz, because don't let anybody tell you you can't do something, because you can do anything you want, as long as you really believe it, feel, that Rachel's right. You just need to get out there, find out about what you want to do. And, I love to see the people that if I have an activity manager that makes it to cruise director, wow, this is what we're about, really. But females, and you're right, Liz, females of colour, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. You can do the job. That's what you need to know. But thank you so much.
This is what you're going to be seeing, in a few years from now.
Yes.
when we're doing this. When we're doing this right there, that's what you're going to be seeing.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
So good honor.
Can't wait. We want to thank all of you for taking the time to share your experience and commemorate this remarkable moment in maritime history. And I think I speak for everyone when I say we cannot wait for this reunion to take place again in person aboard a cruise ship on the high seas. Thanks all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.